You're probably doing too much right now. And that is actually exactly why nothing is working. Well, you've come to the right place because I've mastered the art of doing less but achieving more, and I'm going to teach you exactly how. Now, here's what my life looks like these days. I'm a full-time coach. I run a full-time school community as well. I post two long videos a week on YouTube, which I edit myself. I post so many reels on Instagram. I go out with friends. I go to the gym 5 times a week. I go to the beach. I spend quality time with my girl at least a couple times a week. You see, I am so productive with my work. I'm so efficient with my work that I do less, but I achieve more. And because I achieve more, I can spend more of that free time on my life. I can spend more free time doing things that are good for my mental health. And that is what is going to give you that higher life quality. Now, before we begin, watch this on full screen to unfry your dopamine receptors, to fix that attention span that has been cooked with hours of scrolling. In this video, I'm about to explain everything that is going to change your life. Part number 1, busy does not equal effective. Also, for those of you who want to take your growth seriously, work less and achieve more, and be so productive and beat procrastination, there's a form that I want you to fill out at the end of this video in the description. Now, busy does not equal effective. Here's what this means. People always chase busy. They want to be busy. They think that having more to-do lists, more tasks, and more things to do actually equals more results in their life, in their business, in their personal life. But now the thing is, there is something different, something very distinct between being actually effective versus being busy. Now, there's actually 3 levels to the game of procrastination, productivity, whatever you want to call it. And number 1, number 2, number 3. Number 1 is busy. Number 2 is productive, and number 3 is effective. You see, number 1 is busy. Busy is the worst of the bunch, and it's just where you're like doing so many tasks and you have no idea what you're actually doing, and you're just wasting your time. You spend 6 hours writing an email to somebody who's not even gonna respond. Man, the collective time of you switching tabs and switching tasks is like 3 hours. And that is busy. Busy is where we don't want to be. Busy is where 99% of people are, and that's why they feel like they have to do so much. But at the end of the day, they achieve little and they don't even get the result. You see, busy is the absolute worst. You feel like you're doing something, but you're doing nothing, you're achieving nothing, and it's like not a way to go. Now, the second thing is productive. Productive is where you're not doing useless things, but you also have a lot of tasks. You are productive, meaning you're getting tasks done, but you haven't truly sat down to think about, is this actually a nice to have or is this a must have? You need a to-do list. You need to plan tomorrow, today. You need to do all of these things. But what you also need to do is identify all these tasks that you have, and at the same time, prioritize them. Ask yourself, nice to have or must have? Nice to have or must have? A nice to have, by definition, is a task that is nice to have. You don't need it in your life. It is not the lifeline of your business. If you remove this task, nothing is gonna change because it's a nice to have. You don't need it. A must have task, on the other hand, is a task that if you remove this task, the business, your life, your physique, your whatever, like the results that you have, they are going to disappear. If you remove it, the whole system, the foundation is going to collapse. And that is why it is a must-have. It is something that is so important that you have to be doing it. It is so crucial, so important, so high leveraged. It moves the needle. It makes a difference in your life, in your business, and your success. You need to prioritize everything, right? Ask yourself, is this a nice to have or is this a must have? If it's a nice to have, either get somebody else to do it, delegate, or don't even do it, or maybe spend 30 minutes in a day doing all of your nice to haves. No more than that. If it is a must have, that is where you should spend all of your time. The 80-20 rule. You should spend all of your time not with the 80% of the tasks that only produce 20% of the result, but with the 20% of tasks that actually produce most of the results. Now, the final level of being that fast, precise, and sharp action taker that you want to beat procrastination, to stop getting distracted, stop losing focus, so you can actually build something real. And that is being effective. Being effective is understanding how time works. Abraham Lincoln has a quote that goes like this: if I had to chop down a tree in 6 hours, I would spend the first 5 hours sharpening my axe. Now, Abraham Lincoln, he knew that it's not about how hard you work. It is about taking time to think, to strategize, and to identify how you are going to work in the smartest and most efficient way. You need to be spending a lot of time with your business just simply asking yourself, how can I do the work faster? What can I remove? What can I introduce? And what should I double down on to see the most results? Effective is the highest form of productivity. You spend most of the time doing only needle-moving tasks, and then everything else you just forget. Now, motion versus progress is important to understand. Motion is just checking boxes, and progress is actually moving the needle. The feeling of fake productivity is essentially like you're checking boxes that don't even matter. You're just spending time doing things. You feel productive, but you're doing things that don't matter. But actually progressing is actually getting the results. The market literally does not care about how many hours you work. It just rewards you for the output, the performance. Now, the invisible work that makes you feel like you're getting burnt out, but you really haven't done anything, are things like emails, unnecessary meetings, and just low impact tasks that feel productive but do nothing. You see, urgency hijacks importance. One task could be urgent, like it has to be done now, meaning it has a deadline, but it could also be not important. You could have a task that isn't important, but it is urgent. And these are the tasks that tend to distract you because you think you have to do it now because the urgency drives you to take action on those things, but they're not actually important. One of my biggest problems in the past was just doing so much work that it was not really effective. My metric for whether or not every day was a successful day was, how many hours did I work or how many tasks did I do? But I never really made the metric how much success did I achieve? How far did my business go? How far did I go personally? So for example, instead of making a polished product, trying to make everything perfect before you launch it, first you need to launch it with an MVP. It doesn't matter if things are not up to standard, you just launch anything and then you get feedback, you get reviews, and then you make it better and better and better. That is how the game of life and business works. If you were thinking just about like the action that you're going to take and you're just overthinking and you haven't even started yet, you haven't even taken the action, then you're just going to get to a place where like some guy who's literally stupider than you is going to go further than you. You're out here with above average IQ, like 100 plus IQ, and you have some guy over here with double digit IQ who literally just like does better and achieves more success than you just because they were willing to take more action. Just because they stopped thinking too much and they just like, let me just take action. Now, most people are overthinkers, and being highly intelligent is a good thing because you're more intelligent, meaning, you can do things better. But it's worse because you overthink. Now, I'm an overthinker myself, and I had to retrain and rewire my identity and my mind to be able to like be the guy that just takes action. And a lot of people have this idea and assumption that I need to work hard to be successful. To become rich, to be a millionaire, I need to work hard. I need to work 12 hours a day. Now, that is a false conclusion. You don't need to work extremely hard. You need to do the right things. You need to work on the right things for enough time, and those things will make you successful. Construction workers work so hard, but they're not millionaires, they're not rich. And that's because hard work does not equal success. There are people who work 4 hours a day who are millionaires, but there are also people who work 13 hours a day and they're also millionaires. Now, the only difference is the guy who works 4 hours a day, they've learned to master the art of time management, of just being productive, doing the things that they have to do and not wasting time on meaningless things. Now, you need to think more and do less. Identify your dream outcome, your goal, and then identify 5 tasks at the maximum that you have to be doing every day to get there. And I'm telling you, it is not going to be more than 5 tasks. It's probably 3 tasks. Now for me, it is literally like 4 things, like no more than 4 things. When I plan tomorrow today, I basically keep my notebook on my desk open, flat, every single day, 24 hours a day. And every night I write down tomorrow with tomorrow's date. And I write down a list of 4 tasks that I have to do. These are the tasks that if I complete these, it is a successful day. Now subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Now let's get into part number 2, which explains exactly why less is better. Now I have bad news and good news for you. I'll start with the good news. We have gotten so many applications, so many people who are booking a call and actually taking that action. So many people want to finally build the discipline and rewire their identity to beat procrastination, to be able to take the action that they need to take consistently. Now good news is so many people have filled out the form and so many people have booked a call as well. The bad news is not everybody gets accepted. We have a team who filters through all the applications, and only if you're a good fit, you will be accepted. Part 2, less is more. Now let's do less, but do it better. That is a nice quote. Do less, but better. Now let's talk about prioritization. Choose 1 to 3 things that truly matter in your life. I'm not talking about watching Teletubbies. I'm not talking about scrolling Instagram reels. I'm not even talking about playing chess. I'm talking about like in your business. If you are a YouTuber, number 1 thing should be making videos. Number 2 things should be planning videos. And number 3 things should be monetizing via a digital product. If you're in e-commerce, number 1 should be testing and running ads. Number 2 should be doing market research. And number 3, I don't even know because I don't do e-com. But the point is, you need depth over volume. 99% of people who live the average life or in the matrix, they choose volume over depth. They're trying to chase like how many tasks did I do? How many times was my attention split? How many times did I multitask? Multitasking is the biggest myth. So we want to prioritize fewer tasks, higher level execution, and consistent volume. If you're at a place where you're not seeing the results you want to be seeing, whether that's with your physique, whether that's with your business, whether that's with your habits or life in general, you are just not doing enough. You're not doing enough volume. Enough of the right volume, obviously. Alex Hormozi has a quote that goes like this: do so much volume, it would be unreasonable for you to fail. Now, of course, that being said, the right volume. Fewer tasks, but at a higher level, and those fewer tasks, do more volume with those. Do more volume and more of the high leverage tasks. Now, when people join us, they actually add like 10 to 20 habits to their list. But funny enough, those are the people who actually don't make it multiple months. They try to do so much at once and then they burn out and then they just like forget everything and go back to square one. This is a major reason for burnout, but the people who just select a few things and say, I want to do these 3 things or these 4 things really, really well, those are the people who don't get burnout. They're able to be consistent and get to the top. Now, when it comes to prioritization, you need to prioritize the things that are going to move the needle, and everything else, just forget about it. Now, constraints equals power. You need to set boundaries with everything, right? With your phone, with your extra tabs, with your email notifications. Anything that could potentially distract you is going to make you think that you're doing more, but you're not doing more. You're actually just getting distracted more. And if you think about it, distraction actually requires focus. It takes focus. Like, your brain has to focus on the distraction, right? So in a way, when you get distracted, you're still focusing. So your brain points are reducing. Distraction mimics focus. So at the end of like 3 hours of getting distracted, you feel as if you did 3 hours of deep work. So you're there, you're tired, you're drained, you're exhausted, but you did nothing. So set these boundaries with your phone, you know, screen time blockers, just keeping your phone in another room, putting it on do not disturb, airplane mode, you know, apps that catch you when you're just unfocused, when you're not in the zone. And also saying no is a skill, setting constraints between like, yeah, you can go out, sure, but like sometimes you're gonna have to say no. Sometimes you're gonna have to, like, even if you don't want to. I've seen it so many times where people, like, they don't even want to go out with like that group of friends, but they just force themselves to say yes. They're just like, yes. They're too scared to say no. If you don't feel like it, number 1, say no. Number 2, don't even explain yourself. Like, people will say no, but then explain themselves with a like lame ass excuse. People will say, no, I can't make it because I have to walk my cat. It's my grandmother's birthday tomorrow. And like random excuses. Just say no and say like the honest truth. I don't feel like going today. Anytime you say yes to something, you're saying no to something else that could be happening in the same time. Anytime you say no to something, you're creating space to be able to say yes to something else in that same time. It is the law of balanced effort. Everything requires a trade-off. Now, you need to identify what are your top 5 priorities and say yes to them more often. Those 5 things, maybe even 3 things. For me, that's exercising every single day. That is eating healthy. That is making videos on YouTube, posting videos consistently, coaching my clients, and then there's really nothing else. And then actually number 4 is habits, mental health, and life. So try your absolute best to command your willpower to say yes to those things more often. And as soon as things come, because they're gonna come into your life that don't really align with your goals, then learn to say no to them. It is a skill because it's actually very hard to do at first, but it's also self-respect. Now, the last thing in part number 2 is building systems instead of relying on motivation. Now, I say this all the time, you can't be at 100% all the time. So make sure that you're setting yourself up with physical, mental systems that catch you when you fall. Now, I actually checked the analytics of my YouTube channel, and most of you that are watching aren't even subscribed. So basically, you're just missing out on weekly videos that are going to change your life, rewire your identity, and build the discipline in your life. So subscribe to the channel. Let's go to part number 3. Redesigning your life. The audit. So let's do a time audit together. Take out your notebook just like this. So this is all about understanding where your hours actually go versus where you think they go. Because a lot of the times you will think that you're actually working, that all of your hours are going into work. But when you look at the actual logistics, it's like it doesn't even represent. You think that you're doing all this work, but you're just doing it distracted. And at the end of the day, the output, the input is not there. So track this for 1 whole week. Be honest, write it down. For example, you scrolled for 6 hours over the weekend. This is where 25% of your weekend went in terms of energy, attention, and focus. And you did this thing and then this thing. Write it all down. Track it. Be honest with yourself. Nobody else is going to see this except you. If you're a big time coper and you're not honest, then the only person that is going to impact is you. So be honest. If you scrolled reels for 12 hours in a single sitting, it doesn't matter how bad you feel because of that. Write it down. There's always something to learn. Doesn't matter where you are. Doesn't matter like what bad habits you did. There's always room to grow. But the key thing is you cannot grow if you're not honest with yourself, if you don't identify your weaknesses to be able to turn them into strengths. Now, an energy audit. Write down the things that you do and what drains you and what gives you momentum. All of your tasks, every single task you do throughout every single day, select the ones that you feel that when you do them, you're actually kind of drained, you're actually kind of tired. And those are things you should eliminate. And then select the things that like, when I do this, I actually feel momentum, I feel motivated, I feel inspired. And this brings me to the next point. Some things take, some things give. There is no neutral. Some things that you do, they only take your energy, they only take your time. These are bad habits. But the good habits like reading takes your time, sure, but it gives you more wisdom, more knowledge, and more attention span. All the good habits, they take some time, sure, but they give you way more and they overcompensate in terms of positive return on investment, in terms of mental health, in terms of knowledge, wisdom, in terms of identity. Now, those good habits like reading, journaling, meditating, even exercise, taking long walks, these are all incredible examples of something that gives you more than it takes. And those are the things you should do. And now the next step here is elimination. What can be removed? Not optimized. You shouldn't take time to optimize something that you could easily just remove. Like on TikTok or Instagram, I'm sure you've done this before. Whenever you get a reel that you think is like high quality, like motivation, whatever, you watch it for longer just to like reset your algorithm so you don't get random things and like entertainment and things that you know are brain rot. Or like on Instagram, you just tap on the things that you want to see more of just to like reset your algorithm so you don't see more of those things that you don't want to see. But instead of wasting all that time and mental energy, you can just delete what you don't need. Like TikTok, you don't need that on your phone, delete it. And like Instagram, unless you're posting content and you use that as a business, then it should be gone. So delete, remove the things that are distracting you, because your environment is everything. And just by deleting them, you're making your environment like 50% better. And you might find the excuse like, oh, I need these apps, I need TikTok to message my friend. You can message them on WhatsApp. And now this next step is so important, the alignment check. Are your actions matching your long-term goals? This is so important. Everybody wants to be a millionaire. Like I'm telling you, from the people like aged 18 and above, they did a survey and they found that 52% of people said they want to be millionaires. Now, statistically, look at how many people are actually millionaires. It's like not even 1%. It's like 0. Whatever percent, especially, multimillionaires and even more. Now, there's just a huge misalignment between what people say and what they do. Like I say, I want to be a millionaire. I say I want to, hit 1 million subs on YouTube and have a like successful life and be successful myself. And like, if you come and spend a day with me, literally, you will see, like I spend hours every day. Of course, I do less, but I achieve more. But I'm always optimizing for productivity, for performance, so I don't waste my time. I'm like laser focused on the task and I'm doing nothing else. I'm like making videos and I'm posting so much. And we're just like planning and focusing and like doing the next. We have a whole team and like we're just like taking this to the next level. And like, okay, it makes sense. Yeah, sure. You want to be a millionaire, you want to become that successful guy, and you're putting in the work. Yeah, it makes sense. But a lot of people, they will say, I want to be a millionaire, but then they will scroll for 8 hours. Like there's no alignment. And when there is no alignment, your brain does not trust you. And because your brain does not trust you, you will not see the results. So are you a dreamer or do you actually take action? That is the difference. Dreamers are the 99% people that want to be rich. They want to achieve their goals, become successful, but they just don't do anything. They waste time, they procrastinate, they scroll, they do everything bad, and they don't even work on the things that matter. So the problem isn't actually that you lack knowledge. It's just taking action. To be that 1%, to align your visions with your action, you need to take action. You need to be that action taker. You just need to get started and you need to show up for yourself. You already know what you have to do. So in simple terms, if you're fed up with procrastinating, scrolling, wasting time, and getting distracted, and you want personalized one-to-one help from myself to rewire your identity, build discipline, which are going to allow you to be more consistent and beat procrastination for good. I've helped hundreds of people achieve the same results. And if you want my personalized help, then fill out the form below to apply. If you are a good fit, we'll get back at you and see how we can get started. A bad workout will always be the skipped one. Take care and you got this.